All right, everybody. Well, I have a special treat here for you. And he came dressed and ready and prepared.
I didn't know we'd be
And
camera.
I love it because you're being you. Who do I have with me here in studio? I have Rob Evans. And of course, you're going to recognize him. He is the gentleman that is on the show called The Expandables, which I have to tell you, Rob, I'm liking the name.
Do you like it?
I do.
Little play on the Expendables, little cast of Motley Crue fixing your house.
It's good. It's really good. So who came up with that?
I can't. I'd like to take credit for it, but it was a guy named Vinny. And I know it sounds innocuous, but yeah, my producer on the show, he came up with the Expandables. It was actually going to be a show called Mr. Basement, and I kiboshed that name right away because how do we name it known as Mr. Basement?
Yeah,
So
no,
it became
that would
Expandables.
haunt you for the rest of your fantastic career.
sure,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
I think the Expandables, you can play on that big time. So talk about the show. What is the premise?
Show is really simple. I have gone into a number of houses where people just cannot figure out how to live in their house. I know that sounds stupid, but house made sense when they bought it. Couple moves in, it's a big house, they love it. And all of a sudden, 2 years later, there's a couple of kids. There's mom living with them.
Life changes.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And they don't know how to live in their house anymore. And we go in, the team and I, and we fix that.
All right, so is it just you and I, or is there another co-host, a pretty good-looking one at that?
No idea. Never met
That
her.
helps out a little bit, and I think there's a little good synergy going on there, too, in terms of a competitive edge, just
There's
saying.
a huge competitive edge, but it's that design, build a relationship. So it's Mia Paris.
Okay.
She's a designer.
Yeah.
She actually works for Sarah Richardson. She's a really good designer.
Excellent.
We get along and we don't get along. So we get along kind of outside of work, but as soon as work's there, it's game on. I'm not building that. You have to do this. It's the age-old battle.
So you basically go in and you're finding solutions for these homeowners, which is typical. Life happens. All of a sudden you want the home. After a few years, you're not liking it as much, or it's not working for you. I mean, that's a normal problem.
Yeah, but
right?
people don't know what to do about
Right.
it, and it becomes this snowball effect. You know what? We just like a bigger kitchen. We just like this bigger space. The kids don't have enough room. If we do that, then we have to do this. Then we have to do that. And all of a sudden the problem is huge, and they can't see the problem anymore because there's just too many pieces to it.
And do you find also what happens, Rob, is typically when people don't know exactly how to handle or what to do, that's when the problem itself becomes expensive because they start getting all sorts of ideas.
Because they're not focusing.
Right,
What's the
exactly.
main issue? What's the big deal? How do we use this space? Someone come in here and tell me how to use the space, and that's the way I can cut down their costs, and I can find them space I didn't know was there.
And people don't realize that hiring an expert, okay, is worth every cent because you stay focused.
Yeah.
You do the things that are necessary.
Yeah.
The stuff that maybe not in the budget, not so important, you can hold off and wait till later. So you're guiding them through that process.
It's my job. You know, I don't go do their job. They need me. So we go in, and Mia's great at space layout. I'm good at building these things.
Okay.
There are two things that we have to do. First of all, we can find literal space. There's space under stairs. There's attic space. There is that space we can find. But there's also layout. There's flow. You know what? I'm in this old house, 90 years old. I got a living room in front, a dining room in the middle, kitchen at the back. I can't see my family. I can't interact with my family.
So they want it more open.
Yeah, they want more space, more viewable space.
And Rob, do you find that today the open aspect? I've talked to a lot of people, and they're thinking that we're getting a little too open. I mean, Mark McEwen, he's a regular on our show, and he kind of says, I think we're, he talks from the angle of living in the kitchen, and that's kind of his love and what he does, which is great, and he's brilliant at it. But he thinks that, maybe we're getting a little too open. Do you believe that?
Yes and no. You don't want to see the back door from the front door. You don't want to walk in there and find, that's my investment, it's one room. But there's tricks around that. There's knee walls that we bring in. There's furniture placement. There's paint colors. You need to delineate different spaces, but Mark isn't going to stay in his kitchen if he can't interact with his guests in the dining room.
Right. That's a very good point. All right. Now, when we're talking the Expandables, I have to ask you this question because when we have Dave and Vicentine on, I always say, okay, no, is it real? Like what we're seeing, is it real? I know, I love because you came, it's true. You came true to form.
It is completely real. I do this for a living. We build on the show. It's a mess. We had to do an attic space, and it was about 45 degrees in the attic space, and there's no makeup, there's no nothing. It was gross, but we're in there building. That's what I do.
So what you're saying is that you get dirty, right?
Like,
let's see the hands. Let me see the hands. Oh. Yeah, you got good hands, though.
They're
saying.
builder's hands.
They're not bad.
They're square hands.
They're not as bad as the mechanic hand, right?
No, 'cause no one wants to touch the oil under the fingers. We get gross, we get dirty, but Tony, Brandon, Mia, and we go in there. And Anna, sorry, I can't forget Anna. She had a baby. She was a lady on the show she was pregnant the entire time we shot.
Wow.
Yeah. And it wasn't until the very end where I'm like, Anna, you got to sit down. We can't have you doing this.
Yeah, time to take a break.
Yeah, but she was pro this. No, I can go do it. We go in there, we get dirty, and we build.
Beautiful. Rob, we're going to come back, take a short break. All right. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the show. And of course, I think you have tons of tips and tricks that you can provide people that are thinking about renovating. So we'll go there as well. So just a reminder, everybody, you're listening to the Real Estate Talk Show. And of course, if you want to reach us directly, you have a question, you might have something for Rob Evans directly. You want to make sure that you reach us at realestatetalkshow.ca, or you can call our help desk anytime. We actually do get back to you at 1-844-ASK-RETS. That's 1-844-ASK-RETS. We'll be right back.